What's up, guys? It's your boy Darkskin, and today we're going to be talking about, is a new Escanor coming? Now, if you guys don't know, Final Boss Escanor just released on JP, and with Final Boss Escanor being released, he actually has some new moves that we're going to be talking about. We're going to go over and break down and stuff like that. Now, if you guys don't remember or don't know, as far as Final Bosses go, every Final Boss has had the moves of that unit, like that unit's skills, whether it was them in the game or them being released later. An example would be Final Boss King. With Final Boss King, it was a fusion between Blue King, Green King, and Red King. Now, Red Skinny King wasn't in the game, but you know, Final Boss King still had Red King's moves, you know, being Fight Fire with Fire and Firefly and all that. Increase. Those moves were still in Final Boss King. Now, obviously, Red King was released months later, but the point I'm making is Netmarble doesn't create moves or make moves and then just not use them. They usually have that as a character, or they use it as a character later, or whatever the case may be. Final Boss Gother had a fusion between all three Gothers. Final Boss Merlin had a fusion between all three Merlin. It was just the same thing, right, for all of them. They all have a fusion between the characters that are either in the game or they came to the game a little bit later. So, as far as Escanor, right, we're going to be talking about the moves and everything like that and breaking it down. Keep in mind, Netmarble's equation for this is when a character gets pushed out, they generally release a new character of that type. Green Escanor is not used much at all on JP. Red Escanor is not used much at all on JP either. If we look at Blue King, right? If we look at Blue King on JP, Blue King is an amazing unit. He's still one of the best units in the game, but Blue King is not a top 10 unit on JP. I know that, right? Blue King is not a top 10 unit on JP. Well, what did they do? They said, all right, we know a lot of you guys use Blue King a lot, right? And he's not really used that much. Boom, we're going to go ahead and drop Festival King. We're going to drop a Blue King. It doesn't have to be blue, but they dropped a King that is a top tier unit. This King is debatably the best unit in the game on JP. So it's like, for the units that sell, because look, Bond, no one really used any Bonds. So I understand why Netmarble hasn't dropped any good Bonds, right? No one uses Bond. You know, Coin Shop Bond was used, but then people found out Coin Shop Bond was actually not good, and they stopped using them. And then no one used any of the other bonds, right? Melee or Nunchuck, none of them. They just don't get used. So it's like Netmarble was just like, we're not gonna do nothing with him. That's what happened. I'm telling you. But as far as the good units, or the units that people like, you know, Lost Vein. Lost Vein came out in a time on JP where Pen Team was seeing a lot of counters, or a lot of people were running, you know, Red King in the back slot, or a lot of people were running Valenti, and that forced people to switch from, you know, running those pin counters to try to counter Lost Vein, which it didn't happen, allowing Pin Team to be a little bit better. Not to mention, now Easton is a thing, right? Easton counters Lost Vein. I would not be too surprised if Assault Mode Meliodas came out soon. Not soon, but like 3, 4, 5 months, you know, in the future, in the near future. I would not be surprised if Assault Mode Meliodas came out in the near future. And another point of that, which we'll talk about it later. But anyways, about Final Boss Escanor, right? Big shout out to Nagato. I'm gonna be watching some of his footage. But Final Boss Escanor. If you guys haven't seen this video or seen Final Boss Escanor, he has 2 new moves. I didn't see the ult because skip ults are on, so yeah. But anyways, if you look, right, Mono's actually going to strip the buffs real quick. So, but yeah, what Escanor does, he actually buffs himself. He buffs his attack stats, his defense. Well, he buffs his attack stat, his defense stat, and his HP stat, and he gives himself a different buff, right? As you can see from the top. Right? There's no buffs right now. Now, you see that gray buff? Whenever Escanor gets low on HP, he gives himself immunity. Now, that could very well be the new Escanor's passive. If he gets low on HP, he just gets immunity. Now, I don't know if that's going to be his passive along with something else or whatever. But if you guys didn't see it, right now, Escanor has nothing around him. And there's no gray thing at the top. He gets ulted. All the debuffs go away. He now has that circle, the immunity wind around him. And that gray permanent buff is on him. So, now he has immunity. So whenever he gets low on HP, he just boom, he just gets immunity. Number one. So that could easily be the new Escanor's passive. He could have a double passive where it's like that and something else. There's a lot of units that do like 2 things with their passive. So whatever. But yeah, there's that. Number one. Number two, he buffs himself, as you can see right there. Now, the first couple of buffs, and I actually checked Arthur, right? I looked at Arthur to check. So if you look right here, Arthur gives himself attack boost, defense boost, HP boost, and then debuff immunity. Well, Escanor has a buff on him that I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying it's not a buff in the game, but I have no idea what that buff is. If you look at Arthur, it tells you, right? It gives you debuff immunity, attack, defense, HP. So whatever that other buff is, I'm not sure what it is. I have no clue. I mean, we can look and see. Is it like skill filter? Attack related stats, defense related stats, HP basic stats. And I feel like all of these still have like, so like that might be a new, like, I don't know. I have no clue what that buff is that's like on Escanor. But anyways, so he buffs himself. And then he uses this move right here, which is it's an AoE multi-hit move. I'll show it again. He jumps, boom, 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 right? Now, I was thinking to myself, where did I see this move before? And then, if you look, now look, I know the animation's bad. There ain't nothing we can do about it. But Escanor actually uses this move against Assault Mode Meliodas twice in the show, in the anime, in the manga, both of them, right? So, as you can see right here, ching, 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 you know, it hits multiple times. Then he also uses it again up here as well, right? So it's like they've clearly drawn inspiration from the show for some of this, because in that fight, right, which Escanor's normal right now in the game, in that fight against Assault Mode Meliodas, Escanor was not buffed or anything, but he does eventually go into the one, buff himself, blah blah blah. Which this Escanor has both of those things, and he has immunity, all of that, yada yada yada. So the question is this going to be a new Escanor coming soon to the game? You know, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. But I thought it was really interesting that they, you know, like I said, every final boss, you know, if you want to go back and look at videos or whatever, every final boss has had elements or skills that were characters in the game or characters that came to the game. You know, on global, we don't have final boss Diane yet. On JP, we had final boss Diane. It was a fusion between Blue Giant Diane, Green Giant Diane, and then Red Giant Diane. Well, Red Giant Diane wasn't in the game, but then she came into the game later. So it's just that type of thing. So, or was it a fusion of Red Diane? I don't remember. But anyways, Red Giant Diane did come to the game. I forgot if her skill was in that fight. Whatever. Long story short, we very well could be getting a new Escanor. Not saying that this Escanor is going to be the one Escanor, because, you know, I mean, he could transform. For all we know, he could transform. You know, it could be, you know, when he gets low on HP, transform, whatever. This Escanor could transform into the one Escanor and then have a whole new skill set or whatever. But, you know, he has a buff card. He has an AoE multi-hit attack. He gives himself immunity when he gets low on HP. These are all new features to Escanor as far as that. So, anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment down below, tell me what you guys did in the comment section below. That being said, I will see you guys next time. Peace.